all, this is Dr. Anupama Verma, pathologist practicing at Mumbai since 21 years. This video is specifically to answer the questions which doctors were posing to me, were asking me, calling me up about RT-PCR. Please describe RT-PCR in detail. Another question was, what is the difference between CBNAT, TrueNAT and RT-PCR? What is conventional RT-PCR? Which is the best test in all three of them? Why TrueNAT requires recheck? Why CBNAT requires recheck? Why, if it is requiring recheck, why we are doing these tests? Why not to directly go for RT-PCR? So these are the questions which were asked by many of my doctor friends, and I am very happy. And I told in last video that I am going to bring a specialist for it. I am pathologist, and one of my very good friend, she is doing RT-PCR in her lab. Her lab is NABL accredited, ICMR approved RT-PCR lab, and she has been working since so many years in field of diagnosis. She is Dr. Rupa Vishwanathan, and she is MBBS and MD microbiology. So she is the expert in the topic. So why not ask her all these questions? So I called my friend Dr. Rupa and requested her to solve all these queries of my friends and myself also. I am facing so many queries regarding all this testing. So Dr. Rupa, stage is all yours. So please come and help us to understand the disease better. So here I am presenting to you Dr. Rupa.
I am Dr. Rupa Vishwanathan. I am a clinical microbiologist, and I am the managing director of QualiLab Diagnostics, which is an ICMR recognized center for COVID-19 testing. The COVID-19 outbreak has had a major impact on clinical microbiology laboratories in the past several months. The preferred testing method is the real-time reverse transcriptase PCR, commonly known as RT-PCR test for SARS-CoV-2. Viral cultures are not recommended, and hence RT-PCR remains the gold standard in the diagnosis of SARS-CoV-2. RT-PCR has become a household name in the COVID-19 times. There are various prerequisites for optimizing the utility of this molecular diagnostic technique. Within 5 to 6 days of the onset of the symptoms, the patients with COVID-19 have demonstrated very high viral loads in their upper as well as lower respiratory tracts. A nasopharyngeal swab or an oropharyngeal swab are often recommended for the screening or diagnosis of early infection. A single nasopharyngeal swab has been found to be more preferred as it is tolerated better by the patient, and it is also safer to the operator. Also, the nasal pharyngeal swabs have an inherent quality control in that they usually reach the correct area to be tested in the nasal cavity. Patients who present with severe pneumonia and acute respiratory distress syndrome may require emergent intubation as well as respiratory isolation in a negative pressure room. If possible, a lower respiratory tract sputum specimen should be collected during intubation, or alternatively bronchoalveolar lavage specimens can be collected after intubation. These have to be then processed in biosafety levels with proper PPE. The laboratory operator must also be in appropriate protective gear while doing the testing. RT-PCR involves nucleic acid extraction, amplification and detection. The average time taken for this is about 4 to 5 hours from the receipt of the sample to getting the result. The advantage of this system is that it is an open system where there are multiple manufacturers' kits that can be used, and about 90 samples can be run in about 4 to 5 hours. However, biosafety and biosecurity precautions have to be followed. Now, coronavirus is a positive sense single-stranded RNA genome that has got multiple genes, and various genes have been used for the detection. For the screening test, either we look for EG, that is the envelope gene, or we look for the spike genes or the S gene, and in some cases a nucleocapsid N gene. So these all varies depending upon the kits that are available. In addition to that, species-specific accessory genes are also required for viral replication, and these include the RNA dependent RNA polymerase, that is RDRP, hemagglutinin esterase, that is HE, and the open reading frame, that is ORF 1A and 1B. These are required for confirmation. USA in CDC recommends 2 nucleocapsid proteins targets, that is N1 and N2, for the confirmation and detection, whereas WHO has recommended first line screening with an E gene assay followed by a RDRP gene detection. ICMR also follows WHO recommendation. Besides this, there are TrueNAT and CBNAT systems which have been also deployed for the diagnosis of COVID-19. These are nucleic acid amplification techniques. Again, these are based on RT-PCR, but CBNAT uses cartridges, whereas TrueNAT uses chips for the detection. Now, CBNAT, the cartridge is loaded with the specimen, and within 2 to 3 hours, the results are ready. Whereas for TrueNAT, what happens is that the RNA is extracted and the elute is then loaded onto a chip containing E gene. If this turns out to be negative, that means the test is negative. But if this E gene test turns out to be positive, it is confirmed by another chip which has got RDRP detection, and this is known as the SARS-CoV-2 chip. And once that is turned out to be positive, then that means the test is positive. If RDRP is not detected, that means the test is negative. So what you have looked for or what you have detected as E gene is any coronavirus, but the confirmation has to be done with the detection of the RDRP. Previously, when these SARS-CoV chips were not available, that time we had to confirm by the RT-PCR. But now that the chips are available, we just have to put it on the RT-RP chips, that's all. Now, ICMR confirms a positive case if there is a detection of both E gene as well as RDRP gene. The CT value of less than 40 is defined as positive and more than 40 is defined as negative. Some clinicians have started thinking that CT value is used for quantification of the viral load, which is not the case, as this varies with technology used for diagnosis and also with the quality of the sample. So CT value is not used for either the quantification of the viral load, neither for the prognosis. A repeat testing after 14 days of the symptoms is recommended for knowing whether there is a cure or whether there is infectivity. Although a negative result is expected, positivity has been also seen in as long as 28 days after the first symptoms have arisen. This implies the presence of viral RNA and not necessarily the viable virus, and such cases are non-infective. There are rapid antigen detecting kits which are a point of care rapid test. Here again nasopharyngeal swabs are required. These have to be collected with biosafety levels. These are then subjected to the immunochromatography, and if they turn out to be positive, it is positive, but if it turns out to be negative, then they have to be confirmed by RT-PCR in symptomatic patients. These are some of the questions which were posed to me, and I have tried to reply to them. If there are many more questions, I am more than happy to assist. I hope this session has been helpful. Thank you.
Hey friends, I think Dr. Rupa helped you a lot, and she has tried to answer all of your queries. What is RT-PCR, how it's collected, what is the difference between RT-PCR, CBNAT and TrueNAT. I think most of the queries are solved. Still, if you have any queries, please write in comment section. You can call me, you can message me, because it's a teamwork. Yes? So please feel free to ask questions, write in comment box, and please like the video, share the video, subscribe it, and you can hit the bell button so that whenever I release any new video, you get the intimation of it. So I again request, share it, and don't become confused, and you can subscribe it. It's just not costing you anything. So help us to help you. Thank you.